We've just spent 2 days in Chief Constable's Council, where chiefs across England, Wales, and to a certain extent Scotland and Northern Ireland try to agree joint approaches to the threats that we're facing. We started off the meeting with discussions about some of the most serious threats, how we're developing regional organised crime units, for example, how we're dealing with the need to increase our firearms response, how much we should issue tasers to all officers, and indeed how much we should use video to record the actions of armed officers. We also discussed about the threat from cybercrime, and colleagues from the National Crime Agency gave us a great presentation which clarified what they do, what forces do, and what the regions do. So lots of discussions about the most serious offences, the most serious crimes, the most serious issues. We also spent a lot of time talking about technology, the way in which we can respond to the public digitally, the way in which we need to capture and exploit intelligence and evidence digitally, and of course, by no means least, the way in which all the material we send to the CPS and then onto the courts, whether that's statements and data terms, or whether it's multimedia, whether that's the material from body-worn video or CCTV, all of that needs to be in digital format and also transferred digitally. Now that's a big challenge for us because often the decisions on spending are taken locally. So how can chiefs, working with their police and crime commissioners, agree common approaches so that our colleagues in the Crown Prosecution Service and in the courts can just deal with all this material in one format, which will make their life a lot easier. And the last thing that we discussed, which is probably the most important, is what is the vision for policing in 2020? How do we think we need to be organised to join up locally to support local policing, working in local partnerships? How do we need to ensure we've got the right technology? But very importantly, how do we organise ourselves to deal with those most serious threats? What should be done nationally? What should be done at force level? And what should be done between collaborations of forces, sometimes at a regional level, sometimes maybe on a more local level? And that's a really important discussion. And I'm absolutely clear with my colleagues, it's never about anybody in London drawing lines on a map. It's about using the very best methods to examine how much a resource we've got in these specialist units, what the demand is, but at the same time taking a bottom-up look. What exactly is happening locally? What are those natural, organic collaborations that have developed over the last few years, and how can we maximise that? And lastly, thinking about if we do have more collaborations, how can we lead them, how can we task them, and how can we make sure they have appropriate governance? So a really busy 2 days, but I'm confident we made progress.